Hi you guys. Today I have a fun, cool, very simple experiment for you guys. Well, it's teaching you how to do something, not really an experiment. We are making cloud dough, and cloud dough is kind of like sand or flour, but it can stick together and it's a very cool texture. So the reason why I wanted to teach you guys how to make cloud dough is because we are talking about dinosaurs this month, and dinosaurs are only learned through their bones, through the fossils that paleontologists or scientists have found. So they have to dig very deep down, and these bones that got hardened through years and years and years of sand and dirt covering it, it stayed intact for these scientists to discover. And so the only reason why we know about dinosaurs is through this. So it's very cool, and we're gonna mix some cloud dough to see what it feels like to dig and to have things form and harden or come apart so we can learn about it. So get your flour and your oil and food coloring if you like, and let's do this project together. Alright, so this is very, very simple. You just need 1 cup of flour to every 1/8 cup of oil. So you can make more, you can make less. Start with a little bit and then get more and more as you go. So I'm going to start with 1 cup of flour, and I'm going to put 1/8 cup of oil, and we're going to mix it together. And then if you want to make more, then you can add more. It's a 1:8 ratio. 1 cup of flour to 1/8 of oil. Okay, so I said 1 cup of flour, but I realized that it's hard to get 1/8 cup, so you can just eyeball it. If you like, I have 1/4 cup of oil here. If you want it to stick a little bit more, you can add more oil. So I'm adding a little more, and if it's too wet, then you can add a little bit more flour. So it's up to you what kind of texture you want. So just mix it, mix it, mix it, and you will start to see that the flour is going to start to stick together. But you have to mix it very well because the oil wants to stick together by itself. So you want to mix all of that, and your cloud dough will start to stick together. And if you don't want it to be this powdery, then just add a little bit more oil, and then it's gonna start to stick a little bit more. All right, so here's my my flour and my oil mixture. I added a little bit more oil because I didn't like it too powdery and I want it to stick more, so I added a little bit more oil than the 1/4 cup that I originally started with. If you want, you can add food coloring to this. Just make sure it doesn't get too wet with the food coloring. But look, it can stick together and come back apart. If you want it to stick a little bit more, add a little bit more oil at a time. Not too much, just do a little bit at a time so it doesn't get ruined. You can make more of this. This was only 1 cup of flour. If you want, you can add more, and you can have more to play with. But look, isn't that fun? Look, it can stick together and then it can fall apart. So the only way we know about dinosaurs is through the fossils that paleontologists or scientists have discovered. And the only reason we know about dinosaurs is because of the remains that have been preserved by these fossils. So these fossils are preserved through layers and layers of dirt. So usually when things die, they either decay or they go away. But if something like bones are in laying around and layers of dirt start to form over it, then it becomes buried and they get hardened over time. It becomes kind of like a rock, and then that's when it becomes fossilized. So fossilized bones look a little bit like this. These paleontologists or scientists, they study fossils, they study specifically fossils, and they search all over the world for these fossils. They are usually very deep down, so they gotta dig very deep down on these packed dirt, and when they uncover something, they have to be very, very careful because you remember it's very old. So these fossils, they need to be careful digging them out, and they study these dinosaurs through the bones, through their teeth. What kind of teeth they have determines what they ate. Remember, sharp teeth usually means they were carnivores or they ate meat, or flat teeth usually means that they were herbivores or ate plants. So that's how we know what these dinosaurs ate and how they lived, just by their bones and how they are formed kind of helps us help us find out how they lived, how they walked, what they ate. It's all through these bones. And it's not just bones that get fossilized. There can be like starfish can be fossilized or footprints. Footprints can be fossilized, dinosaur footprints, but they are very, very rare. There's not that many dinosaur footprints that get fossilized because they it's very hard for something to get fossilized. For in order for a footprint to get fossilized, that means nothing can disturb it. It has to be left by a footprint, and then nothing can move it. If it gets ruined, then the footprint wouldn't be there anymore. It needs to be untouched, and then layers of dirt cover it in order for there to be a footprint. So there's not that many footprint that we have seen, but there's other things like imprints of fish can be fossilized. These fish, that's how you know some fish lived a very, very long time, even before dinosaurs, because some fish get fossilized like this, and we know that they existed before dinosaurs did when we date back on when we think that these might have been formed. So not most animals or dinosaurs do not get fossilized. When they decay and then they don't get dirt covered over them, they become lost in the record and we don't know about them. So paleontologists, they think that only a small percentage of dinosaurs that ever lived have become fossils or found as fossils. That means of all the dinosaurs that we know, it's probably just only a little bit of them. There's no way to know all the animals, all the dinosaurs that ever lived, because not all of them are fossilized. Because it's so hard for a bone or a footprint or teeth to get fossilized. It has to be covered in dirt, covered by layers and layers of dirt, and it has to be not moved or not taken away or not decayed, because if any of that doesn't happen, the bone can't fossilize. So it's very, very hard for bones to become fossilized. So the ones that we find, the ones that paleontologists find, are very rare, and it's very important that we don't destroy them, because there might not be another one. They're very hard to find, and it's very hard to find a complete fossil. So of the bones we have, like the T-Rex, we only know about them because we found certain fossils, and they think that some of these fossils go together to form the T-Rex. But I don't think we found a full T-Rex yet. They just put in the pieces that think might go there, because it's very hard to find a full skeleton of the T-Rex completely intact, since it's so hard to become fossils. So there's a little bit of an intro of fossils and why they're so important. It's the only way we know about dinosaurs and animals that lived so long ago. So there's a little bit of an intro. Hope you guys like that. Hope you guys do the cloud dough recipe experiment. It's really fun to play with, and I will talk to you guys next time.